User in your channel started recording.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Chris Scales, Greg Hectus, Tony Groves, Will Gibson, and special guest Michael Morley. Hey guys.
Hey Mike.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Chris Scales. Hey, so welcome. All right, let's get to meet Mike Morley, new member to Tifosi Racing. Thank you for joining the team recently. We've run with you for a few days now, and let's learn a little bit more about you. When did you get your start on iRacing, and how did you hear about it when you initially found out about it?
Well, I got my start first I want to say thank you for having me. It's been an awesome first week. And I started back in, I believe it was 2014, and I heard about it from Greg Hectus, actually. He's a good friend of mine, and we've been talking about it for a while.
All right, cool. And looking at your stats right now, your winning percentage is not too bad, 5.6 overall on oval.
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty aggressive, but I try to win the race from the start, so to speak. I'm pretty good though. I like to hold my line. I play safe when I go around guys. I've just been lucky, really.
All right, and tell us about how often do you race, and what series are you normally running?
Recently I've been all A. Yeah, I've just been lucky, really. A class. It's been going great. Sorry, what was the first question, Mike, there?
Well, how often? Are you doing it daily, once a week?
Oh, I'm practicing a lot. Like this week for Charlotte, I put in about 600 laps for practicing, and what is it, 2 races now? 1.5 races for it. I've been going every day, practicing really hard, doing really good setup changes, doing my best.
Yep. Yeah, so you're running NIS and you run an A open, A fixed a little bit too.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And obviously you're part of the team Tifosi now, and we've been running with you, and it's been fun. But what about, do you have any other leagues you run in, or unofficial or hosted?
No, actually, I just pretty much run with you guys, and I'm not in any kind of host stuff or private events.
All right, very cool. So let's learn about your hardware. What kind of wheels, pedals do you have, and how many monitors and third-party software?
Currently, I'm running the G29 setup. I'm just running a 26-inch monitor, one monitor, and I'm running one app called Crew Chief, and it's actually, I just ran it twice now on both these last races, and I'm actually loving it.
Oh yeah. Eventually you'll find in all these different ones and all combined, have a whole experience. I run 4 or 5. But obviously TeamSpeak, because we're talking in TeamSpeak, that's another one you're running.
Oh yes. That one's important.
All right, very good. And what is your most memorable iRacing moment so far?
Actually, I think both my NIS wins last weekend were, or I guess it'd be the weekend before that one, last weekend, were actually highlights of them. They're just long distance races, right? It's a lot different winning them than it is winning a 60 lapper.
Right. All right, well, very good. So, welcome to the team. Glad to have you on the podcast. Let's jump right into it. We'll go on to Indy 500 concluded. We have some results to talk about here. Teammate John Wall said that he ran the Indy 500 and got wrecked lap 1, turn 2 by somebody named T. Loff. So sorry to hear that, John. Mike, you ran, says you clipped turn 1, exit the safety barrier, and couldn't turn into 2 and rid the wall. And you had her at the front for the first quarter of that race, so.
Yeah, she was running pretty good, and I was like you said, I clipped the wall, and I tried turning into two, and she just wouldn't turn, and I just rid the whole wall. The race was done from there on out. She
Yep.
just kept, yeah. I was running first, like you said, and then I got behind somebody, and you know how you keep changing the weight, and when you're behind someone, it's crazy how much it pushes.
Right.
Wasn't used to it.
And is this your first Indy 500 or?
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah.
It was awesome. To say
Not
the
a
least.
bad start there for your first event though. Chris, you're also a first timer, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was my first one, and man, I really put some effort into it. I spent a ton of time practicing, but unfortunately, I kind of had the same issue that Mike had. Once got in traffic, I got in behind a guy, cruising to him, and right behind him in the corner, and just got that arrow push. You hear about it a lot in NASCAR, which is about all I watch, but you don't really experience it that much in the sim. I haven't anyway. I'm not that fast, but man, you sure did in that Indy car. You get up behind a guy and the thing just pushed right into the wall. Just tapped it, broke off my front wing, and that's all it took to slow down the car enough to not be competitive anymore.
I've felt that before. Like you get up behind somebody, it's like, does this thing still have a steering wheel? You know?
Yeah, it's like it flips a switch. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't turn it. You know, it just doesn't turn. So you had a bad day after hitting the wall there, but Greg, your first time as well, and man, you almost did it.
Yeah, that was I have to say, like I have total respect for those guys that drive those Indy cars. Those the amount of things that you're doing while you're running, and I mean, Indy's not a hard track to drive, but the on the like, if you're doing that kind of movements and things on the road courses while you're trying to fix stuff, like it's crazy. The weight jacker and all that stuff, and changing fuel trim and stuff like that. It's so to remember to do it each time you're in traffic is crazy. And it was a good race. I just kept it clean and finished second.
Second, that is great result. We were talking about, well, who does really well in their first start, you know, at Indy, and I was thinking Juan Pablo Montoya. But David Flowers, he had a good run at Indy 500. Does anybody remember? I think he was top 5.
Yeah, he finished fifth.
Fifth, right? Yeah. So good run for David. Very impressive. I did say I think I did remember he say he was laps down though, but still finished fifth.
Yeah, he touched the wall a little bit and it was slow down the straightaways, but he hung it out and was
Very
able to
impressive.
get to the end.
I did say so it sounded like, you know, oh, I did not get to run, but it sounded like overall it sounded like there was a lot of attrition in these races. If you finished, you pretty much had a top 5, top 10, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? Well, that's what these one-off special events happen. You know, a lot of people who don't normally run Indy cars come in, like us NASCAR boys, and we come over there think we know what we're doing. But Greg, you had a good show. That was a good showing, P2.
All I can say is running that Indy car there, and then I'm glad we don't go to there with the stock cars for a bit because I would turn into the corner expecting it to hold and it wouldn't.
Yeah, it's a little different. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. That was the Indy 500. Let's move on. NASCAR Peak Series. Nicholas Shelton passes Jarl Tian on the last lap to win at Charlotte. Both Shelton and Thielen were able to survive the last 2 restarts that took out a big chunk of the field to battle with 2 to go. Shelton won with a .008 second lead. What a race, guys. This was something else. And the big pileups was classic NASCAR.
Yeah, it reminded me of those cup races where you get to the end and they fan out 4 or 5 wide. It's just, I would say the sim's just a little less forgiving than real life. Because once those cars start to wreck, it's game over.
Yeah, and I was kind of watching this race off and on, and from what I had seen, they were pretty clean most of the race until it came time, until it was go time.
Yeah, that was a shit show at the
Yeah,
end. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, I was going through some videos just to take notes for the podcast here, and they didn't put any of that in their highlight video, which I thought was kind of funny and surprising at the same time.
That's true. And in fact, NASCAR actually tweeted out round 7 of the NASCAR iRacing series came down to the wire. Relived the finish with a YouTube link and a GIF of just the cars going around the track. No, big wreck or anything like that. But it is cool that NASCAR is tweeting it. It was interesting the naming that they called it. They didn't mention peak, which I thought was a little bit odd.
It's probably a typo on somebody's part. Peak seems very active as far as title sponsorship goes, and especially with the sim.
Yep. Well, NASCAR's Twitter account is probably run by an entire team of people, All right, let's move on. Will, tell us about the World of Outlaw sprint car this week.
Yeah, so I posted Tim Ryan wins, iRacing doesn't. Tim Ryan won the second iRacing World of Outlaw Sprint Car Championship race, a race that was plagued by cautions, bad restarts, and poor racing etiquette in general, all while being commentated by a broadcaster throwing a temper tantrum. I kind of put some more notes here. I actually raced home from work to watch this. Got off at 9. I thought about putting it on the car while I drove, but just not safe. But I would say iRacing has a very difficult task ahead. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that the Pro Series would highlight any of the flaws in the sim, and this race put a spotlight on it. iRacing, I think, is fortunate that it's very early on in the series and there's not enough eyes on it. A lot of the changes I feel iRacing needs to make are things that just can't be done in a 1 week's time. But what they can do is work with drivers and set a precedent of what not to do, and this race gave them plenty of examples. I highly doubt this is going to be that negative moving forward for iRacing and World of Outlaws and what they're trying to build here, but as a member of iRacing and someone who calls myself a sim racer, I was embarrassed that was what they called a pro race.
Well, I missed out. I didn't see this at all. I did see the tweets about it. You weren't the only one who was disappointed in what went down. I saw Logan Clampett, who is a peak driver, who is also participating in this, I believe. He was tweeting as well, calling out basically the announcers, that they were saying things that was really inappropriate, like talking down to the drivers, calling names and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I was half-heartedly watching through the heat races, and the next thing I know, the announcer is calling people stupid. So I rewound, went to see what happened, and Adam Elby, he won the first race, threw a slide job in 3 and 4, cut between the leaders, nothing major, just good hard racing, and it was a bad move on his part to slow himself down. It didn't mess the leaders up at all. And then the guy in 4th kind of proceeded to run over the front end of his car. I would say LB did nothing wrong. The guy behind him is the one that drove over him. He did lose momentum off the corner, but it was good hard racing, putting on a good show. And the guy that ran over him proceeded to flip and wreck. And then Randy, one of the broadcasters for RaceSpot, just was like, "This is stupid. This is dumb. This is bad driving. This guy should be suspended." It almost felt like he had a personal relationship with the guy that wrecked. It'd be like if Jeff Gordon went off the rails if somebody wrecked Jimmy Johnson. It was like watching a train wreck. It was really hard to explain, and the show just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah, I had watched bits of that broadcast too. I was checking in on it now and then, and because like I said, I'm not running these dirt cars, but I want to see the series do good because I would like to run them at some point. And it was weird because I mean, RaceSpot usually does a pretty good job, and yeah, this broadcaster. I mean, he not only did he call this guy out and do this weird name calling, but he just didn't sound like he had a clue what dirt racing was. I don't even think he called it a slide job. If I remember, he had some other kind of weird name for it, but it was just a really bad broadcast compared to what they would usually put on.
Yeah, and even the main event, it went, I'd say 6, 7 laps under green, all under caution. The guy in second place threw a Hail Mary at the very end. Tim Ryan drove through the guy on exit, which I kind of don't blame him. The guy parked right in front of him. But all this happens, and it was just embarrassing for me, even as just someone who says I'm an iRacer, I do sim racing. Like, they put on a bad show. And I don't know, iRacing really needs to sit down with these guys and say, hey, this is unacceptable. We have issues on our end. This is what we're working on. But you need to be respectful of what you have, and not. It was just bad. It was really embarrassing.
It sounds like two different issues. It sounds like the broadcasting is one issue. Set that aside, and then you're saying the racing has an issue too.
Oh yeah, like, definitely.
Because people are too aggressive or breaking the sporting code by running people over. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, just for one example, they were at Charlotte. I don't know if you guys ever raced there, but the pace truck pulls in center of the back straightaway. And the very first restart, Tim Ryan starts dead center of the back straightaway. And then every restart after that, everybody was expecting and stacking up. Then he would wait till green coming out of 4. And I can't really blame him for taking advantage of the loopholes iRacing places. But if they're serious, if they really want this to grow, why don't they have an alive admin? You boot that guy to the back of the pack and hold these guys accountable. If they're representing iRacing, obviously they're competitors, they're racing, they're going to take advantage of it. Have somebody there to keep them in check.
Yeah, but technically he didn't break the sporting code, I don't think. If you can leave anytime after the pace car goes, or you can wait till the green, or anywhere in between without getting a black flag in an official race, right?
Yeah, and I would say, like, I don't really blame him for doing what he did. He was doing what he had to do to win. But to be that bad, it's just not good etiquette, is what I would say.
Right.
And it was poor design by iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, they admin the peak one, right?
No, I think they stopped doing that. I think I've heard
they did.
They stopped doing that a while ago. And
yeah,
I mean, if you're racing for money and it's competition, why do we not have live admins? I know the sim's not perfect and they do a great job. There's no other option for dirt racers, but the show they put on was really bad. Just bad in so many different levels, and I think it's good it happened early. Let's get these growing pains out of the way. Let's get this
fixed. Yeah, it's the first week of the thing, right?
Oh yeah, second for this series.
Right. Aren't they switching off? Like every week they do the different car?
Yeah, next week will be the late models. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they're at Lima Land, which is the smallest, tightest track. And if they're not there, I know it's 2 weeks or 2 more races before the sprint cars are there. And that's really going to amplify and show off a lot of these issues if these guys don't get themselves in check.
Yeah, maybe they just need a live admin for a race or two or something. And all right, let's move on. Tony, what do you got next?
Oh, well, the new June build is fast approaching. Lots of talk. In particular, videos of the new GTE car have been trickling in. That's the Porsche 911 RSR coming June 5th. Steve Myers threw a tweet up on the Twitter showing off a little video of the new car and basically just announcing it. Took a look at this video. A pretty sweet looking car.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's another just another car though that I probably won't buy.
Well, yeah, but I know like a lot of people are excited about it. I mean, it's not really in my wheelhouse either.
The next big thing in food was once
a lot
a little
of people
paper
are excited
box.
about this car, and once again, like the video itself that they put, we've been talking a lot about how it's been progressively getting better, the quality of the videos that they're putting out, and I felt this one was right up there with the top ones. I didn't get to hear it with the sound. I was just watching it and the cuts and all the different stuff that they put out. Actually kind of got me excited, even though I most likely won't be buying it. Still pretty sweet looking car.
Yeah, they showed the car running at Le Mans, and so obviously it's pretty cool to see that track anytime you can see it. Pretty cool looking car, I tell you what. I mean, the road guys are getting some love, you know, that's for sure. All right, let's talk about some more love for the road guys. Chris, what's next?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a few weeks, but we now have video of Belle Isle. The video was advertised to be highlighted in the Peak Series broadcast, and the track was available for drivers to test at the IMSA press conference at the track. And man, the video of this place, it looks so cool. It's so neat to see how Detroit in the background, and they kind of captured kind of the grunginess of that track. And man, it was a really cool place to watch these guys race. And they had let's see, what pros did they have testing this out?
Yeah, they had Will
Powers is one.
And yeah, some other guys were actually at the Detroit track, and I think they were spraying champagne, and they did a little online race, you know, on the track itself.
Yep. Yeah, they had a little online race, and then took them outside to celebrate guys with the fastest times, sprayed champagne on them, all that good stuff. But it's really cool to see them out there in Detroit pushing this.
It is, yeah, it sure is. And what a video. I mean, the track looks awesome. I mean, it's hard to tell it's not real life, you know. It feels like I'm watching a real IndyCar race.
Yeah, like I said, they've really captured Belle really, really well. Like I said, I'm kind of one of the ones where I say we don't need all this extra stuff because I'm not paying attention to it when I'm driving, but man, it's beautiful.
I don't know anything about Belle Isle. Actually, I didn't even know it was a racetrack until we started talking about it here. But now watching this video and stuff, like, man, that looks like a really cool and like technical racetrack. I mean, looks really tight, and those cement walls going down, like you look pretty darn confined. You know, that really stuck out to me.
I think it's like the only full-on street course we have in the sim.
Yeah, completed. There's one frame in this video where you can see the pavement and you can see the grooves of it. It's concrete and they have grooves in it, and it's very realistic. But yeah, so Peak had a promotion there where, you know, they had the celebrities and everybody coming out to, you know, talk about the track coming out on iRacing. It was kind of cool. Otto Zabini from iRacing was there. It was on stage to discuss it, and they had a picture of Will Power and others trying it out. They had a play seat cockpit, what looks like a G29. All right, pretty cool. Belle Isle. I don't think I'll be buying that one. Sorry, guys. All right, I'll take the next one here. Data night progress update. We got a little tidbit from Tony Gardner in the forums. He says, here's a little news on the day to night transition iRacing has been working on. Tony posted, the project is moving right along and it looks great. We do still expect a 2018 release, but it will not be in the June build.
Ooh.
And a couple other tidbits here. Right now we are working on the moving clouds casting the right shadows. Hopefully that works out well. They're all different types of shadows to give that realistic look. In fact, one of the things we are generally working on also is additional shadows. A big impression spoiler can be shadows, although most people could not tell you why. They would just say something does not look right or fake. All these details are important and they take time. The sunsets and sunrises look spectacular. We were just looking at the sun rising at Belle Isle on a partly cloudy day. It looked really cool with the sun impacted by shadows reflecting off the glass buildings.
I think this is going to be I think it's going to be really cool even on the cup side. Like, say when you do like the summer Daytona race, you get that sun going down there, get it in your eyes, and it fully transitions to night. I think for the sim as a whole, this will be a whole new level of simulation and immersion.
Yeah, Phoenix, Martinsville, Charlotte to 600. Are all transition from day to night.
Especially if they work in the shadows, like they were mentioning. If you get the shadows in, say, 1 and 2, but not 3 and 4, how much does that affect the track temp? How does that affect how the cars handle? I think that's really going to be an awesome experience if they get that right.
All right. Tony, tell us what happened with the Indy 500 top split.
Yeah. So, big winner, Joshua Chin wins the top split. And he wins it by 0.013 seconds over Andrew Kinsella in an exciting race, which came down to a one-lap shootout after a late race caution. And I just quickly watched this video, and I mean, that would have been awesome to see happen. When they were doing it, like that was one heck of a battle at the end. At one point, going into the turn, they're like 4 wide.
Yeah, going
That
through
obvious-
traffic, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that obviously didn't stick, as it usually rarely ever does. But a few guys got into each other, and then it was just the two of them going head to head, and like, yeah, I mean, 0.013 seconds. I mean, it's a hell of a race, and those guys just gave it. It was that was a neat video to watch.
Yeah, really cool little short 1-minute video showing that last lap, and boy, those guys raced for it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. They weren't holding back, and it was good racing too. I mean, minus that small little wreck, but I mean, it's 4 wide. You kind of expect that to happen anyhow.
Yeah, and they made it all the way to turn 3. Most races don't make it to turn 1.
Yeah, you definitely made a point there. Another noteworthy thing to talk about: Joseph Burton Harris won the 1300 GMT top split race after starting 33rd, and he posted up a video of the race on iRacing. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to look through that one, but starting from 33rd and working your way up through the field and taking the win at the end. I mean, that's just got to give you warm, fuzzy feelings all over.
Yeah, he put up a nice little highlight video, 21 minutes, of how he basically made his way from, dead last to first. Right at the end, he does a split screen of the battle for the lead, and it's quite a battle, actually. And they are slingshotting past each other each and every lap, just trying to get the timing right to be, first at the flag, and he just barely gets it done. I mean, it was a pretty cool win.
Yeah, I mean, like, seeing that video and then hearing you guys talk about the Indy 500, beyond, I never had any interest at all, but I think next year I might be buying that car and putting some practice laps down to try my hand at it. That sounds like it was a lot of fun.
Do it. It was a lot of fun. I wish I had a chance to run more than just the one race.
Well, they had a few starts, right? 3 or 4?
Yeah, I had to work last weekend, unfortunately, so I just got to do the one.
All right, cool. Indy 500 is over, guys. All right, Chris, what's next? All-Star race.
Yeah, Logan Clampett won that LSRTB All-Star race, but what was more entertaining was Hallie won and his reaction. And so basically, I think I was watching this, and I think he was running 4th when this happened, but the leaders got into each other and got all tangled up in front of him, and he looked like he was going to T-bone the undercarriage of, I believe it was Zelensky's ride, and just goes through it, just with basically net codes right through it.
Yeah, he just ghosted through it.
Yeah, but the reaction on his face, so basically we get to see Logan Clampett's O face, which is a little bit disturbing, but you got to check out the video and then just check out him just unwinding after it was over. I mean, it was priceless.
Yeah, I was just watching that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it actually last night Mike was running in the 600, and he had something kind of similar happen. Only when I saw his video, he should have went under the car that was flipping in front of him, but he somehow didn't. So it was like the opposite of this.
And it literally damaged my whole car, like literally all the way around the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes you're on the winning end of that netcode stuff, and sometimes you're on the losing. And Logan he was on the winning side this time.
I like how long it took him to react. There was like almost like a quarter of the straightaway where he didn't really realize what happened before he reacts.
Yeah. He like knew he was supposed to be wrecked, and he just realizes, wait, I'm not, and all these other guys are. I'm gonna win the race.
Yeah, that's funny. And Ray Alfalo got a still image of the absolute moment he realized he just won the race, and the look on his face is priceless.
Yeah, it's really entertaining. I almost feel like they need to make all these guys have live cams and stream these peak races just to see that raw emotion. That's the one thing.
Oh yeah,
they're missing.
Yeah, everybody's talking about that more than they're talking about the actual racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think they should have, a face cam for these peak guys, and that's kind of what you're missing from, live, real life stuff. Is you just don't really know these guys. I mean, you really have to dig into it, follow them on social media, whatever. It needs to be there in the broadcast so we can get to know them. I'm sure Logan Clampa has, he has more fans now because people, saw how ecstatic he was when this happened.
All right, moving on. Next topic I got is a huge security bug on the member site, was what the name of the forum post said. iRacing fixed a bug which logged you into somebody else's account. Chris Page from iRacing commented on it. He said, such a scenario would be rare but possible. We've taken measures to prevent this scenario from playing out. And it's very interesting if you're technical at all, the reason that he actually says how this occurred. And I'm going to read it to you real quick just to give you some flavor. The crux of the problem was that there was a chance for session cookie collision. We rely upon the application server to generate the values for the session cookies. These values should be unique. Our research indicated that some implementations provide uniqueness between servers, but does not account for different ports. In the case where we have multiple instances of an application running on the same server, the potential for collision of these values existed. So it's some kind of cookie problem. But they fixed it. So apparently some guy was able to he was doing something on the website, and then he was in somebody else's profile. Like he could have launched a race and he would have been racing as somebody else.
Does that mean that they could get their info as well?
Well, that was part of the concern of this post. Absolutely. So the guy who reported it, Philippe Liebart from Texas, he posted up a screenshot. He said, refresh the website and this is what I see. And he sees somebody else's name. It's a different driver.
Yeah, that's a huge concern right there.
Yeah.
It sounds like they got it fixed, though, is the way he worded it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about iRacing. They're so good at and responsive to the forums. I mean, if you put up a problem like this, he reported it May 19th at 3 in the afternoon, and they had it fixed May 22nd at 11:30 a.m. So within 48 hours, they had it fixed. And so some people were changing their password that were aware of this and doing things like that just to try to, I don't know if it would help or not.
That'd be safe and sorry though, right?
Right. But apparently it is fixed, so don't worry too much. All right, Tony, what's next?
Well, this, I guess, kind of skirts what you were talking about. A discussion popped up in the forums highlighting privacy flaws in iRacing, mostly due to people streaming and people being able to see your name that you didn't approve of. I started to kind of read the forum a little bit, and then I tapped out. I don't know. It seems to me a little too much of this
It's
Big Brother
ridiculous.
tinfoil hat wearing stuff. Personally, I really don't care. I've streamed a few times. I know when I'm streaming that somebody's going to see my name if they want to look me up. Cool. Basically, my train of thought is there's a lot easier ways, and a lot different ways to get my information. If somebody really wants it, they're going to do it. I've got stuff on the back burner to help. If something were to happen, I'm kind of protected. So, whatever. Don't care. Next.
Yeah, I mean, they're worried that somebody's going to see a stream of a game that has your name printed on the screen somehow because you're in the same race. I mean, that's a violation of privacy. I don't think it is.
Well, it can't be a violation of privacy if you're the one doing the streaming and this information is going to be there. I mean, heck, you can
No,
put
they're
up a
not
little.
talking about that. They're worried about the guy that you're showing the relative. You're showing your relative of other people's names in your stream. So you're violating their privacy.
Oh, right. That's kind of like when I go to my kid's dance recital, I want to take pictures and I can't because I might get somebody else's kid in the photo and I might
Yeah,
post it
it's
on
like,
Facebook.
yeah,
Come
weird
on,
stuff
give your hand
like
a
that.
shake. Jesus.
Stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, what all
Very much.
started this is if you probably have seen, all companies right now are updating their user agreements and been mailing those out, emailing those out. You probably have gotten them recently from a lot of different companies. The reason is there's new rules from the European Union that require more disclosure about your rights and whatnot. But anyway, that's what started this conversation because iRacing recently had us reread the terms and conditions of our agreement with them. And so that prompted this discussion because it does say you're consenting to have your real name displayed to other members. And some liberal probably thought that's a bad idea.
It's probably somebody that cussing in the chat, wrecking people, and they just don't want video evidence, stuff online of them doing stupid things. Because otherwise, who cares? It's just your name.
Yeah, and there is a way to change your name that's shown on the sim. You can contact iRacing staff, and they'll give you options. I don't know what they are, but you're supposed to use your real name. I mean, the idea is you have a reputation here. I mean, you do. Like I have the most incidents in NASCAR iRacing series. I don't know if that's my reputation, but but people, they see me in the race, they're gonna think that.
So you're saying, like, for me, when I'm streaming now, I'm streaming under a name that I've created, but yet my iRacing still says my name on it.
No, they're worried about the people in front or behind you you're showing on the relative or in the crawl.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just all silliness.
All right, Will, what's next?
All right, so there was an easy anti-cheat issue causing problems with the Windows Insider Preview. I guess if you downloaded it or have a newer version of Windows via the Insider Preview, it wouldn't launch the sim. And Randy Cassidy posted in the forums. He stated, "Note: we had to back out the easy anti-cheat update that allowed a Windows Insider Preview build to work." So it sounds like they kind of got it worked out, but if you were having issues, that's where it's from.
Well, I think you're always taking a risk if you're going to run some Windows beta,
I feel like I'm taking a risk every update I do.
Well, no, to say in the regular Windows update, I mean, this is actually the Windows beta situation.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ever want to do that if you were an iRacer, because there's going to be things that Windows is going to do that's going to break the sim, and iRacing needs time to find that and fix it. And if you're on a beta program like that, you're just asking for trouble, I think.
Hey, at least they're making the problems fixed before we get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe we should applaud them.
All right, cool. Next up, Kevin Bobbitt from iRacing also posted on the forums a picture from the parking lot at iRacing headquarters. It's a Cadillac. No, excuse me. It's a Corvette. And it's got iRacing on the hood as well as many other racing related stickers like Hoosier and whatnot. but the entire hood is the big iRacing logo. Any guesses, guys, on who is the owner of this car? Probably the maybe Dave Kamer, the founder. I don't know. Maybe Tony Gardner.
I want one. That's pretty bad.
Pretty cool, huh?
And it's Hoosier.
I almost feel like they need to make that the official pace car.
Yeah, scan it.
Heck yeah.
It's a nice little ride, but they did sticker it up and make it look like a race car. Pretty cool. He's got a race number on the side. Looks like a 157.
Yeah, they probably take out to like track days or something of that nature.
All right, pretty cool. Tony, what's next?
All right. Well, YouTube video. Going iRacer and YouTuber Jason Jacoby. Well, I was gonna say basically. I reckon William Byron in a truck race. Now, when you do watch the video, the wreck was not intentional. They were racing hard. It actually looked to me more like a little bit of net code snuck in there. But hey, hey, that's cool to be able to hang your hat on that. Yeah, I wrecked William Byron. What's up? But even more than that is Jacoby's setup. This is absolutely insane. It's a full-out cockpit. It's got the window net and the whole 9 yards. In the video, he's got actually 4 different cameras pointing at different angles. Watch so you can watch him race in his setup. This is one of the top setups that we've seen in my humble opinion for the oval side stuff. This is just really cool.
It's crazy. I can't. When I saw this, I immediately showed this to the team because this guy is not only sitting in an actual cockpit that has a window net and A-brace, A-frame bars and everything. I mean, it looks like he's in a real car. Not only that, is he's wearing the Fastenal fire suit and a helmet. It looks like a helmet, but it looks like it's actually VR goggles, I think, and gloves and everything. I mean, he is full on decked out.
I think I've seen his rig for sale on the iRacers flea market on Facebook not too long ago.
Now, a couple weeks ago, did we cover this on the podcast or was this in the messenger? And maybe this is what you were talking about, Mike, but there was a something posted up of it was like a full out car, and I think they were trying to sell it. So maybe I can't remember.
It's real hard to see with the image because it's so small, because it's a little thumbnail of him in his cockpit there. But when I blow it up on my big screen, man, that's quite a setup he's got. He definitely has VR goggles on. His seat is like a proper NASCAR seat. It's got the big headrest that comes out around your ear,
Yeah, I've actually watched a handful of his streams, and they just I quit watching because they just make me angry. And it's not because of him, but every time I see his setup, I'm like, oh, look at this stupid spoiled rich kid. And he's done like the rich, the I don't know which version of it was, but he's driven a real car on the track. He had some videos of that. But yeah, honestly, he does a really good job. He has more cameras in his car than a real stock car, and the thing
he's got
basically
the foot
looks
cam.
like, yeah, he's good stream.
He's got racing shoes, actual racing boots or whatever, like a real race car driver would use.
Yeah, I was like, why? I mean, why would you even want to do that? Like, why would you want to sit in a fire suit if there's no danger of actual fire? But
he's got his Patreon account link at the top and everything. I mean, it's crazy. Check his video YouTube out, Jason Jacoby. Guy's crazy.
yeah, get jealous like me.
Okay,
Just
Chris, what's next?
Oh yeah. So next we have F1 SG posted a pic of on their Facebook page of a Audi DTM carbon wheel on a customer's rig, and this thing is absolutely ridiculous. It looks like it probably weighs about a pound. I mean, this thing's just all carbon fiber decked out, buttons. I mean, it's a full dash. A little bit I mean, obviously this is a custom rig built for this guy. It wouldn't work for everybody because it's kind of huge. But did you see any kind of price on this? I imagine not, because it's got to be ridiculous.
No, but I was looking at this guy's rig and his setup. Man, what a setup. I mean, there's so much to talk about. The monitor, it's a single monitor, but it's super, super wide.
Yeah, and where does he even get that? Now, I've seen the closest thing I've seen to that is something. So Microsoft has a monitor that's coming out that's kind of similar like this, where you can conference call basically, and you set it in portrait mode so you can see a whole person there. But aside from that, I don't know that I've seen any monitors that are so
This
perfect.
aspect ratio is the
Yeah.
same as if you had two 16:9 monitors.
Yeah, I'm not even sure where you buy that. I don't know if that's custom as well.
Right, I've
because I
never
don't
seen
know.
this for sale
Yeah, a
myself.
monitor that's so wide and not very tall. It's like perfect for iRacing.
And he's got the FOV and whatnot set up just perfectly. He's showing the left window and then out the front. And then obviously you can't see out the right side window because it's the same size as if you had two monitors, not three. But he's got it set up perfectly. And then there's a dash. I mean, he's got this carbon fiber dash with a big display in the middle and big old lit buttons on either side, and then this really cool Audi wheel in the middle. Man, it is nice.
Yeah, and it's got that button box down to the left, and you know, it's got the top all decked out with buttons, and it's got the the face. I guess you could tell it'd be more or less facing you. That's all buttons and toggles, and it looks like it's they've got it all backlit with that nice blue that just it just ties it all together. So gorgeous.
Yeah, very nice setup.
I love the wallpaper he has going on there. Nice relaxing view when you wreck out. Just look over.
Yeah, so if you want to check this out, go on Facebook, find F1 Sim Games, all one word. Pretty cool stuff. All right, and then final topic, I'll take that. Bubba Wallace praising iRacing. 40-second video. Basically, Bubba telling us how iRacing works. NASCAR put this video on their actual YouTube site of NASCAR. And pretty cool. I mean, it again shows NASCAR is definitely behind supporting of iRacing. I mean, they're not doing this for other titles, guys.
Yeah, this is good to see, right? Because we've kind of been on the fence on if NASCAR did start making some kind of esport push, what would it be? Are they going to go with like a console heat type deal, or are they going to go with iRacing?
Oh, yeah.
And so far, everything's saying iRacing.
Oh, yeah. Especially when they put it on their own channel, this kind of information. And this is just Bubba sitting, with big old NASCAR logo behind him, talking about it. They're showing footage of, a race at Richmond in iRacing, and he's just, saying everything good that he can think of to say,
Now, this isn't the first time that he's done that either. I remember it wasn't all that
Oh, no.
long ago he threw another video up. So that's awesome, getting lots of love from Bubba.
And love from NASCAR. That's the big thing, I think. All right, that's pretty cool. Let's jump into final thoughts. Chris Scales, what do you got?
Just kind of bummed about messing up Indy last week, and now I have to wait a whole nother year. But looking forward to just jump back into it and doing some more racing this week. And I'm glad to have Mike Morley as a new teammate. I've done some racing with him. He's a great guy to race against and with, and I think we're gonna have a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have Mike on board, and the chat's been fun. There's been a lot of chat going on about setups and what are we going to do for Charlotte, and what are we going to do for a setup, and how are we going to adjust it. And I ran this lap time, and this is how far I fell off, and it's very enlightening to see the team kind of go that direction where we're actually working on stuff that's going to help us in that A car. So, yeah, glad to have you. Greg Hectus, what's your final thought?
I'm just looking forward to getting back into racing this week. I'm gonna do a plug here for just so since I've started getting into the streaming stuff, so you can watch me race at Frozen Cactus, my YouTube page, my Twitter. I have a Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, all that you can watch on. It's Frozen Cactus, FROOZENKAKTUS. So you can watch me there, and I'll be streaming whenever I'm racing. So I look forward to this week and enjoying that we got Mike on this team. Mike and I have worked together for a little while here in the last couple of weeks, and we race about the same way. So it'll be good to bounce setups off with him.
All right, yeah, and get your link up on the Tifosi and iRacers Lounge pages as well, so everybody can find it, Greg.
Doing that right now.
All right. Tony Gross, final thoughts.
Yeah. Mike, I don't know if you've noticed, but you're getting kind of the invasion from the Great White North. There's 3 of us now. And I got to say, that's pretty darn cool. I haven't had a chance to race with Mike yet, but done some practicing and a bunch of talking with him. And all the chatters actually get me excited to start running some more open races. I've kind of shied away from them up until this point, but from what all the boys are saying with these cars they've been working on, that I'm really missing out. So I think I'm gonna have to step over and try my hand at it. Maybe even give some tips if I can keep it off the damn wall.
Yeah, when the membership manager is from the Great White North, you kind of know who he's going to be picking. Okay, Will Gibson, final thoughts.
Oh, there goes. My hotkey is messing up there. I was going to say, do we really have 3 Canadians if Tony doesn't know who Paul Tracy is?
Oh. Well, with the conversion rate, it's 2.5.
Oh, gotcha.
Well played, fellas. Well played.
But I was gonna say, yeah, no, it's did some racing this week, felt really good. Still getting settled here. I want to thank everyone who stopped by, watched the stream, all the subscribers, appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's exciting. The team's chat's been good. I feel like every time these guys mention a lap time I get close to it, they up it by about 2-3 tenths. So still got a little ways to go there, but having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, the banter on the setup stuff has gotten everybody excited, I think. So, and with the off week, I think everyone is just chomping at the bit for the Coke 600. So we'll talk about that next week and the results from that race. My final thoughts. Well, first, let's get over to Mike Morley, our special guest. Thanks, Mike, for coming on. You're certainly welcome back any and every time. Please join us and tell us about your racing. What are your final thoughts?
I just want to say thanks for having me on the podcast, and it's been an honor to actually race with you guys and get the setups going this week. It's been really great. It's actually been getting me going too quite a bit. I've been putting in quite a bit more hours now that I'm part of the team. Yeah, that's just about it. I'm loving it. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I can't wait for all of us to start producing some good numbers on these setups.
Well, absolutely. All right, very good. My final thoughts, boy, I'm glad the off week is over. I'm not really looking forward to the 600-mile race. It's a long one. It's not really my cup of tea. I'd rather them be the half distance, but we'll get through the week and get some points. Make sure to reach out to us if you guys got stories. You can find us everywhere. We have a website, iRacersLounge.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker, Google Play Store, Podbean. I can't remember where else, but they're everywhere out there. You can find a podcast. You'll find iRacers Lounge, guys. So go get it. And for that, we'll see you later.